My name is Emily, and for as long as I can remember, my sister Natalie has been competitive about everything. Growing up, she always wanted what I had, whether it was friends, clothes, or attention from our parents. Still, I never imagined that envy would extend to my wedding. When Michael proposed to me, I thought my family would share in my happiness, but instead, Natalie seemed to get quieter and colder. I brushed it off, assuming she was dealing with her own issues, and focused on planning the happiest day of my life. The dress I chose was more than fabric. It represented my dream, months of planning, and something uniquely mine. I didn't realize just how far Natalie's jealousy would push her until the day she tried to make that dream her own. A week before the wedding, I noticed subtle comments from Natalie about my gown. She would ask unnecessary questions about the fitting schedule or whether the boutique required identification to pick it up. At first, I thought she was just being curious, but my instincts told me something was off. My suspicions were confirmed when the boutique called to say someone had attempted to collect my dress using my name. Thankfully, they recognized the deception and refused. My stomach twisted with dread because I already knew who was behind it. I decided not to confront Natalie immediately. Instead, I played along, letting her believe her plan hadn't been discovered. I wanted to see how far she would go, and quietly prepared my own backup plan. After years of her envy, I finally decided it was time to stop letting her get away with everything. The morning of my wedding arrived, and despite the joy, there was an undeniable sense of tension. Natalie showed up at the bridal suite wearing a smug expression, pretending everything was fine. She even brought a garnet bag, claiming it held her bridesmaid dress. But when she wasn't looking, I peeked, and my heart raced. It was a near copy of my gown, except cheaper fabric and less detail. My anger turned to resolve. She clearly intended to ruin my moment. But I wouldn't let her succeed. Instead of creating a scene before the ceremony, I leaned into my plan. I had discovered her secret weeks earlier. She was having an affair with her boss, a married man whose wife attended our wedding as a family friend. If Natalie wanted to humiliate me, then I would return the favor with truth on the biggest stage possible. As the ceremony began, I focused on Michael, determined not to let Natalie's looming sabotage rattle me. The vows were beautiful, and for a moment I thought maybe she'd back down. But as we walked into the reception, Natalie made her move. She disappeared, only to return minutes later wearing her knockoff version of my wedding dress. The gasps echoed through the room, and she strutted like she had just won a competition. My guests whispered, some confused, others horrified at her audacity. My parents buried their faces in their hands, but I remained calm because I was ready. Rather than letting the day spiral, I motioned for the DJ to pause the music. With the microphone in hand, I prepared to expose the secret Natalie thought she could keep forever. I looked directly at Natalie, who smirked as though she had successfully stolen my spotlight. Then, with steady confidence, I addressed the room. "My sister has always wanted what I had," I began, watching the tension ripple across the audience. "But today, it isn't just about a dress. Natalie is hiding something you all deserve to know." Her smile faltered, and I saw her hands grip the fabric of her gown. I revealed the affair, how she had been involved with her married boss, who was sitting at a nearby table with his unsuspecting wife. The room went silent, and then gasps spread like wildfire. The wife's face turned pale, and her husband couldn't even meet her eyes. Natalie froze, her grand entrance collapsing into humiliation as whispers filled every corner of the hall. The scene unraveled quickly. Natalie tried to deny it, but the evidence I'd prepared was undeniable. I projected screenshots of her messages with her boss onto a large screen we had set up for the slideshow. Gasps turned into outrage, and her boss's wife stormed out, furious and heartbroken. Guests whispered that Natalie had ruined my day, only to ruin herself instead. I stood there, still in my dress, but now stronger than I had ever felt in her presence. For once, I wasn't the sister being overshadowed. Natalie's attempts to make me look small had only revealed how low she was willing to sink. The reception shifted back to celebration, except now my story had become one of poetic justice, a moment my family and friends would never forget. After her exposure, Natalie fled the reception in tears, leaving behind her knockoff dress and shattered pride. The rest of the evening became everything I had dreamed of: dancing, laughter, and pure joy with Michael. Guests congratulated me, not only for the wedding, but also for standing up for myself. My parents were torn between embarrassment and relief, finally seeing the extent of Natalie's behavior. I didn't feel guilty. She had crossed a line by trying to sabotage one of the most important days of my life, and it was time she faced real consequences. Instead of bitterness, I felt liberated. For years, I had endured her envy and manipulations quietly, but this time, I proved that she couldn't destroy my happiness. The wedding became more than a union with Michael. It became the day I reclaimed my strength. In the days that followed, Natalie tried to spin the story, claiming I had exaggerated, but the damage was already done. Her boss's marriage ended, her job was in jeopardy, and her social reputation crumbled. Friends she once manipulated drifted away, unwilling to be associated with her drama. Meanwhile, Michael and I enjoyed our honeymoon in peace, knowing we had overcome not only family betrayal, but also a lifelong cycle of rivalry. Every photo from the wedding told a story of resilience. Me smiling in my gown, Michael holding my hand, and Natalie's absence glaring in its own way. Instead of ruining my memory, she became the cautionary tale whispered about in the background. I didn't plan for revenge to define my wedding, but it became the closure I never knew I needed. Looking back now, I realize the wedding wasn't just about celebrating love, but about breaking free from years of manipulation. Natalie had tried to wear a version of my dress, but in truth, she could never wear my happiness, my love, or my strength. Her schemes finally collapsed under the weight of truth, while Michael and I stepped forward into our marriage without her shadow looming over us. My revenge wasn't cruel. It was justice. I didn't humiliate her for sport. I exposed her because she tried to destroy me. As Michael and I build our life together, I know one thing for sure. Love built on honesty and loyalty always outshines envy. And for anyone watching this story, remember, sometimes the best revenge is letting the truth speak louder than lies. That was the story of how my sister tried to steal my wedding dress and my moment, but ended up exposing her own secrets instead. If you've ever had someone try to tear you down out of jealousy, I hope this reminds you that truth has a way of shining through. My wedding day became unforgettable, not because of her sabotage, but because I finally stood my ground. Thank you for listening to my story, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe for more tales of betrayal, revenge, and resilience. Your support helps me keep sharing these stories with you, and I promise every new one will be just as unforgettable. Until next time, remember, protect your happiness and never let envy steal your light.